You know, about a year or two ago, I asked a question here on YouTube as to, and I've even asked there in Isaac, I believe. And that question is, why aren't we getting any Blu-ray recorders here in North America? You know, you would think getting a Blu-ray, you would think that with the success of Blu-ray players, and now with the beginning success of the 4K of the Blu-ray 4K of the UA, whatever they call the Blu-ray, the 4K Blu-ray players or the Ultra Blu-ray players, and along with the success that they've had with the Blu-ray 3D players, you think the most logical step in between all that, or even afterwards, would be the Blu-ray recorder. Now, in Japan and in other parts of the world, Blu-ray recorders have been released and people have bought them up. And there are people here in the US that have done the same thing, but they've had to get them through places like Amazon or places out in Japan, or places online from Japan. I'm planning to eventually get one myself. But here's the question. What's the holdup? What is the holdup in getting us these Blu-ray recorders here in North America, here in the United States, in Canada, and even in Mexico? What's the holdup? You know, recently, just like last year, I got myself an early Christmas gift because I got my bonus and other financial, as well, because I got me and my fellow associates got our bonus, and I got myself a little, I kind of upgraded myself finally from the big gray television that I had with the flat screen to an HD TV. Most importantly, a smart one for an affordable price, and it's not. And to let people know, it's not big. It's a decent size. But here's the thing. My thought was that if I ever could get an HD television down the line, which now I have, my goal was to always try, my thought, my dream, my goal, and even my question was, would I be able to record in high definition now? Would I be able to take the programming, the recording of my DVD recorder and be able to use it to record in high def? Well, part of my question was answered. You see, when my mom first got me this, one of the things I noticed on the back of it was an HDMI output. Now, I totally forgot about it for a while, because I figured, well, I'm not going to get a new television just yet. But finally I have. And even when I was hooking things up and everything, I thought to myself, okay, obviously, I had totally forgotten if there was one or not. So when I flashed my flashlight on it recently, there was. There was one. And again, like I mentioned, it was an HDMI output. And I tried to figure out exactly how this would work. Apparently, you can only watch DVDs that you put into your DVD recorder, or even watch your recorded programming that you've re-recorded and you want to see how it turns out. You can only watch it, and that's it. The only way you can record it is still through two different methods. It's either through the red, white, and yellow A and V cables, audio-video cables, or the red, green, blue composite cables, or even the coax cables. Well, not coax, but optical cables, or whatever you call them. digital cables. And when I saw this, I said to myself, honestly, this was my reaction. I said to myself, why? What's the point of putting an HDMI anything on the back of a DVD recorder if you're not going to allow us to record in high definition? If it's only there for us to watch things. So I looked online and I asked that question. And apparently I'm not the only one that's asked it. Apparently there's other people that feel the same way. And the one thing that it led to, one of the articles I read, towards the end of that article, was the mention of Blu-ray recorders. The guy basically said at the end of that article, and I paraphrase, quote, "Don't expect to see, this is a reason why you shouldn't expect to see Blu-ray recorders in North America anytime soon." Because what the article said, for the reason that there is no HDMI input, but just an output, was because of copyright, of the HDCP. And so the HDCP, the high definition copyright, I guess that's what it's called, has some kind of stranglehold or agreement made with all the developers of DVD recorders and even Blu-ray recorders, maybe in Japan and other parts of the world. And that is, you can record with your recorders, but you cannot record in high definition. But here was the question that I have. If a lot of these cable channels, well, not all of them, but if a decent amount of cable channels already have their programming copy protected, or at least the people that broadcast their shows or licensing their shows out to these cable networks and all that have their stuff copy protected already, then what's the point of not putting an HDMI input into the DVD recorders? You would think that as technology evolved and the DVD recorders, as they evolved from being just like what the VHS was, just coax cables and that's it, to now just being, you just using the audio-video composite cables to record. What's the big deal of not allowing HDMI inputs to do the same thing? I mean, if you already have programs, certain programs or networks or channels, and anything broadcasted on it already copy protected, what's the point? There is none. There is no point. It shouldn't be a problem. And this is one of the reasons why we haven't seen any Blu-ray recorders? I mean, in Japan, these are commonplace now. In other parts of the world, they're commonplace. They are commonplace. And get this. Blu-ray recorders are just like DVD recorders. I saw some pictures online at Amazon, and they have the same kind of configuration. So what's the point? What's the point of keeping a Blu-ray recorder away? What, is this something that you haven't figured out yet? Is it maybe the fact that Blu-ray recorders can do what DVD can't? That they can actually surpass certain obstacles and record programming that they shouldn't? Because if that's the case, I don't think they'll be able to record, let's say, something like Monday Night Raw or Thursday Night SmackDown any more than I can. They won't. Because every time I would try, it's copy protected. So, what's the big difference? I'm just asking. I'm just asking, what's the big deal? Because I don't see any big deal. I don't see no real reason why we can't have that next evolution that VCRs had, VHS players had to becoming VCR players, and DVD players had becoming DVD recorders. I don't see the obstacle. I don't see the reason. I mean, if the configuration in the back is the same as the configuration of the back of a DVD recorder, what's the problem? I don't see any. Do you? You know, this is why a lot of people, even though they hate to do it, if they have the money, they go to places like Amazon and they order online a Blu-ray recorder. Because even though the instructions and the controller itself might be in Japanese, at least they can say, hey, we have a Blu-ray recorder now. We have something we can actually enjoy and record with. We have actually gotten to that next step of evolution. And this is what really bugs me. This is what bugs the heck out of me. It's like, you take that next logical step with DVD players, and you give us DVD recorders. That's great. And as technology evolves, you evolve it to where we don't necessarily need the coax cables anymore to just record. All we need is the audio-video all we need is the audio-video cables to do it. That's it. All we need is audio-video cables to do it. True, we need our TV connected to the cable box, and we need our cable box connected to the TV as well as to the wall, all where the cable's coming out of. But still, we got to a point where now all we need is the audio-video composite cables, audio-video cables or composite cables to do it. And yet, for some odd reason, for some odd reason, even though we've gotten this far, and even to the point now that you have these little digital video recorders. Yeah, digital video recorders. Did you not know about those? Even though we've come this far to having those, we can't have Blu-ray recorders, even though they have the same configuration. We can't have HDMI inputs along with the outputs, even though any attempt to maybe record something like off HBO would be prohibited still. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I mean, if people can come up with a solution to allow us right here to use as many AVI audio-video outputs just by a switch, with one being the output and the others being the in, with just by a switch we can switch from one source to another. If we can come up with that, and if we as people could come up with something that allows us to convert HDMI to audio-video, or the other way around, or even come up with something like an HDMI switcher, which is basically a rounded version of this, then what's the big deal? Huh? What is the big deal? What's the reasoning? I mean, have we as a people, have those in the entertainment business become so paranoid that they believe Blu-ray recorders, even though they have the same configuration as a DVD recorder, will allow people to record copyrighted material? Are they that afraid? Are they afraid that an HDMI input is put into a DVD recorder and allows people to record in high def, that's going to surpass copyright? It's going to allow them to record copyright material? Has the entertainment business become that paranoid? Because if that is the case, that is the most pathetic reasoning. Those are the most pathetic reasonings ever. I think it's time for the entertainment business to grow up, to evolve themselves, and realize that if they already have if they already have copy protection on certain things, movies, television shows, cable channels, then there is no reasoning not to allow people to have DVD recorders or to distribute DVD recorders with an HDMI input and output, as well as do the same for a Blu-ray recorder, or even just bring a Blu-ray recorder finally to North America, here in the US and in Canada and in Mexico, that has the same configuration in the back of it as a DVD. There is no reasoning, there is no excuse. But, this is just something I had to get off my chest, because I know I'm not the only one, past or present, or even future, that's looking forward to the idea of having my DVD recorder with an HDMI output allowing me to record stuff off DVD. Onto DVD. I know I'm not the only one that's been hoping for that, and now it's not going to be. Yet, still, the silver lining is I can still record. It's just that I gotta use the cable box connected to DVD recorder to do it, just like I did before. So, and the only way I can watch it, if you will, is to take the HDMI cable that I bought recently that's connected to my DVD recorder and watch it like that. So, yeah, it's crazy, but what are you gonna do? But my thing is, I think it's time for hashtag bring BDR Blu-ray recorders to North America. Hashtag bring Blu-ray recorders to North America. And hashtag put HDMI inputs on DVD recorders. That's all I'm going to say, folks. Let me know what you think down below. I'll talk to you later. Because honestly, folks, I think you would agree, there is no excuse not to let this happen.